Good morning, friends. Today we are learning the subject Industrial Stoichiometry 22315, and this subject is belongs to second year Diploma Chemical Engineering MSBT Mumbai. The topic is material balance with and without chemical reaction. In this topic, there are some subtopics. The first one is law of conservation of mass, then steady and unsteady state operation, material balance without chemical reaction and its procedure. Again, material balance equation and unit operations, definition, block diagrams, numericals based on unit operations such as distillation, drying, extraction, evaporation, crystallization, absorption, filtration, mixing and blending. Then we'll see some of the recycle or purge and bypass operation, their definition and applications. Again, we'll focus on chemical reaction terms like stoichiometry, stoichiometric equation, stoichiometric coefficient, stoichiometric ratio, etc. Then again, we'll see what do you mean by limiting reactant, excess reactant, yield, conversion, selectivity, and percent excess reactant. And at the end of this topic, we'll see the material balance with chemical reactions, calculation of percent conversion, percent yield, percent excess, composition of product and reaction stream. Now let us start with the first subtopic, law of conservation of mass. Material balance involves the calculation, the quantities of all material that enter and leave any system or process which are based on the principle of law of conservation of mass. What this law states? It states that the matter is neither created nor destroyed in process and the total mass for the process is remain unchanged. The general principle of material balance calculation is to put and solve a number of independent equations involving number of unknowns of the compositions and mass flow rates of streams enter and leave the system or process. The process again can be defined as one or a series of operations in which physical and chemical treatments are to be carried out and the desired product is formed. In such processes like distillation, drying, absorption, chemical manufacturing, etc., we'll have to study. The system can be defined as any arbitrary portion of a process that you want to consider for analysis, such as a reactor. The system boundary must be fixed in each problem by drawing an imaginary boundary around it as shown in the figure. Figure shows that there is a system and surrounded the system there is a imaginary boundary, and after that the surrounding is there. In this way we can define the system. There are two important classes of system, the closed system and the open system. The material neither enters or nor leaves the system, that is the closed system. Figure 1 shows the closed system. It is totally closed, there is no input, there is no output. System itself is a closed system. Again, the second one is the open system, or also called as the flow system. The material crosses the boundary system. The material which crosses the system boundary as shown in figure, there is input, there is output. We can say that this is the open system. Now, the chemical processes can be defined as or classified as the batch, continuous and semi-batch process. The batch process is nothing but the feed materials are placed into the system, and reactor, mixer, filter are the batch processes where the feed material enter the system at the beginning of the process, and these material are held for a period of time known as residence time or the retention period, during which physical and chemical changes are there. The product removed all at once after this time and no masses cross the system boundary during the time. Batch processes fall into category of closed system. The basis used in such a process is usually one batch, and the material balance for physical batch processes in which there is no chemical reaction can be written. The chemical equation or the basic equation for the batch process is nothing but the input or the initial quantity is equal to output or the final quantity. This equation can be applied for every substance or the component or for total materials. Look at the figure number 2 and figure number 3, where the initial state of the batch mixing process is stated. Then that means initially we'll feed the material into the system, and the final state of the batch mixing process, after a certain period the material is accumulated within the system, there is no output, so we can say that this is a batch process. The second one is the semi-batch process. A semi-batch process or the reactor of stir type tank as shown in figure, often used for its own particular characteristics. In this type, all quantity of one reactant is initially put into the reactor and then the other reactant is continuously fed. Only flows enter the system and no leaving is there, hence the system is an unsteady state process. This arrangement is useful when the heat of the reaction is large. The heat evolved can be controlled by regulating the rate of addition of one of the reactant. Now look at the semi-batch reactor shown in figure number 4. One reactor is continuously fed, one is always there, and the third is nothing but your product. Then the third one is the continuous process or the flow process. The input and output material are continuously transferred across the system boundary. That is, feed continuously enters the system and product continuously leaves the system. Physical and chemical changes take place during the flow of material through the effective parts of the equipment. The effective parts is nothing but the packing, sieve plate, filter cloth, etc., where the sufficient area is provided for the reaction. The convenient period of time such as minute, hour or day must be chosen as the basis over which the material balance calculations are made. This type of processes can be classified as steady state and unsteady state process. Now let us see the steady state process. The process can be defined as the steady state in which all the operating conditions, that means temperature, pressure, composition, flow rate, remain constant with the time. In such processes, there is no accumulation in the system and the equation for the material balance can be written as input is equal to output. Look at the figure number 5 for the steady state process, where input is given, output is also there. The temperature, pressure, composition, flow rate are constant with the time. Now the second one is the unsteady state process. For an unsteady state process, not all the operating conditions in the process, that means temperature, pressure, composition, flow rate, etc., remain constant with time, and the flows in and out of the system can vary with the time. Hence, there is a accumulation within the system. So, the material balance equation can be written for the unsteady state process is input minus output is equal to accumulation. Now, see the figure number 6, where the initial condition for an open unsteady state system with accumulation, and after the time of 50 minutes the accumulation is there, the volume is occupied. You can easily see the difference between the figure number 6 and figure number 7. Again, look at the figure number 8 and figure number 9, where the initial condition for an unsteady state process with the negative accumulation, and figure number 9, where the conditions of the open unsteady state process with the negative accumulation after 50 minutes. That means in figure 8 there is large volume, but at the end of reaction, at the end of 50 minutes, your volume get reduced. This also called as the negative accumulation. Now see the general strategy for solving material balance problems. The strategy outlined below is designed to focus your attention on the main path rather than the deviations. First, read and understand the problem statement. This means read problem carefully so that you know what is given and what to be accomplished. Then draw a neat sketch of block diagram or sometimes process flow diagram consisting of all boxes which represents equipments and lines which indicate all streams enter and leave the equipment. Label the flow of each stream and the associated composition with the symbol. Put a letter as symbol, streams such as F for feed, P for product. Furthermore, put all the known values of composition and streams flown on the figure by each stream. Calculate the additional composition from the given data as necessary. Then write additional data required to solve the problem and the chemical equations if the process involves chemical reaction. Select a suitable basis of calculations. Then list the symbols, each of the unknown values of the stream flows and composition. Then make a number of independent material balance equations equal to the unknown quantities that to be calculated. Proper sequence for these equations should be necessary. First one contain only one unknown in order to avoid the complicated solutions of the simultaneous equation. Three type of material balance equations can be formulated. First one is the equation for total quantities, which is called as the total material balance. The second one is the each component, which is also called as component material balance. And the third one is each element, which is also called as elemental material balance, if the chemical reactions is there. Now the existence of substance that enter in one inlet stream and leaves in another stream with known composition and it passes unchanged through the process stream, also known as inert for the chemical reaction, is greatly simplified material balance calculation. This substance is also known as tie component. For example, nitrogen is considered as a tie component in handling of combustion calculation, since it is input with air stream unreacted and out with the exit flue gases. If there are more than one tie component in the same input and output streams, these components can be made on and can be used for the material balance calculation. Now finally, check out the answers by introducing them or some of them into the material balance equations, and look out that are the equations satisfied or are the answers reasonable. Now see the material balance with different units. The first one is the mixer unit, where two streams are entering into the mixer, and finally the only one stream is out. So we can do the material balance with the input is equal to output. We can do the material balance over the composition. We can do the elemental material balance for the mixer unit also. Second one is the extraction unit, where the aqueous phase goes to the extraction process, and out of that aqueous solution is obtained after the extraction. For the extraction we need a solvent, so the raw solvent is fed to the extraction, then extracted solvent is taken out from the process. So there is two input and two output for the extraction unit. Then the distillation column, feed is introduced at the middle of distillation column. Then out of that, bottom and top product is to be taken. Here we can take a material balance over the tie component, over the elemental component, likewise. And finally is the absorption column, where again two streams are entering and two streams are leaving. Over the two streams we can do a material balance, total material balance, then elemental material balance. In this way material balance calculation can be done for the absorption column also. Thank you for this lecture. Only this portion is to be covered. The remaining portion will be covered in the next lecture. For watching, thank you.